Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. Super excited to have everyone on this webinar. So today I am joined with Jennie and Anne. Jennie and Anne both have a lot of experience using Ignition, but especially when it comes to marketing, they have a huge social media presence. For today's agenda, I want to preface that this webinar will be recorded and shared. So if you need to hop off at any point throughout the webinar, please feel free to hop off. Again, this webinar will be recorded. So again, don't worry. For today's agenda, it's going to be very conversational. This is just a high-level agenda of what we will be going through. We just went over introductions, but we will also be going through marketing sources, discovery, qualifications, marketing strategies, and some advice that Jennie and Anne will share with the audience. Near the end of this webinar, I will also be going over new features and updates. So definitely stay tuned till the end to get updates on those new features.
We offer accounting and CFO advisory level services for the most part. We do some bookkeeping, but we prefer to be in the accounting and CFO space. We package that based really on the client's needs. Everything drives from that first meeting with the client to figure out exactly what kind of services are going to benefit them the best and to try to align with their goals. And that's really how we set everything up.
For our firm, what we do is we focus on the data integrity, and the system so that we can provide data to individuals like Anne. So when people come to us, they're usually coming to us with several different apps in the tech stack, especially if they're e-commerce. And our job is to ensure that the data is clean and package that accordingly. There is no guiding light. There is no standard when it comes to pricing services. Pricing is subjective. I don't know if any of you have tried to get an air flight recently. Pricing is very subjective. So you just have to get comfortable with the fact that it's subjective. Looking for that perfect price that you're going to develop is something you're just going to have to get uncomfortable with if you want my true and honest opinion. For me, when I was first starting out 16 years ago, I had the pitiful hourly rate, and that pigeonholed me quite a bit because there's only so many hours we have in a day. And I was automatically putting a ceiling on my revenue. So when cloud technology came along and I was starting listening to people like Ron Baker and Mark Wickersham, and now we have Ryan Lazanis and all these great influencers and people that are out there that are able to advocate, I adopted value pricing. Sometimes it's called fixed fee pricing or monthly billing. But that saved us a tremendous amount of time because I was no longer keeping track of 15-minute minutes and what was happening. I was just focused on getting the work done. And now having a remote team, that's just it. We're focused on getting the work done. And we'll talk more about how we manage the profit margins after that. So our pricing is a predictable amount for each client, each month. It's billed in advance, and we manage it really well through Ignition. And our job is to manage the scope and grow our clients' goals so that our rates increase as we meet those goals for our clients.
And I think a lot of it sometimes too comes down to confidence in your own abilities and understanding the value that you're bringing to your clients. And that once you're at that point where you can say to yourself and look yourself right in the mirror and say, you know what, I am bringing a lot of value. And it's not a defined rate of X amount of dollars per hour. It's because of all the knowledge that we bring and that we have team members that understand so many different things and that we can really help you. And then that's where you start pricing it the right way according to the value that you bring. I struggle with scope creep because I think I'm a people pleaser. So, a client will come to me and say, oh, can you take care of this for me? And I try to take care of it. But it's very important for my firm to manage that. And I think Ignition helps me with that because I've become much better at really clearly defining what the scope of the project is, especially when you're doing CFO advisory services, where you really want to be specific what you're doing for them, what the goals are. And by having all of that in there and then having it that we can refer to it at times to say, oh, this is not in there, or we weren't going to do this. I think that really is important.
Yeah, I'm gonna be the maverick and say, I love scope creep. Oh yeah, let me tell you why. I love it. I love it. I love it. So what is scope creep? Let's first of all, because I speak to a lot of accounting professionals, and we all still struggle with what the heck this cool term is. Basically, scope creep is what your clients are asking you to do that's outside of what you originally agreed to do. So they're seeing you as a problem solver. Hey, you solved this, Jenny. Can you do this too? Can you do this too? Can you do this too? They're delegating their problems, right? Because we're financial frontliners. We can handle this stuff, right? But for us as accounting professionals, we really need to tie what we do, so that's our workflows, with what we agreed to do, which is our engagements. I'm not sure why I'm using my hands, but it's very theatrical and it feels good. But for me, we love scope creep. And, do my clients, I have one client that says to me, hey, Jenny, I got some scope creep for you. I'm like, oh, good client. But every other client doesn't, right? And so how we manage it, like how we keep our profit margin, right? Because as you do more work, or as your team does more work, your profit margins start to do this, unless you address the elephant in the room, and that's what you price your services for. So how we do this is I'm very upfront with my clients. One, I'm tenacious with a type A personality, so it's easy for me to do. But two is using a platform like Ignition really helps us in articulating what are the rules of our engagement, right? What we've agreed to do. And it's not about shaming the clients when they come to us like, oh gosh, you grew, you scaled. Bad client. No, you never say that. They're growing. So what we do is we align scope creep with meeting a certain goal. So we'll say something like, hey, Mr. Smith, congratulations on hiring your 10th employee. You're now in our gold package. We're ready to accommodate for this. Here's your scope change, and we're going to take care of this new onboarding of a client. So we align, it's like a compliment sandwich, but we align when the client is growing. Also, our services grow as well. And that to them feels better because they feel like they are meeting a goal, and there's no lie about it. They are. And therefore, our value as accounting professionals should be increased because we help them get to that freaking goal.
The way we get our referrals, some from existing clients, but the majority of it is from networking that I do. I spend a lot of time reaching out to other people, joining groups. I belong to a BNI group I'm based in New York, so the group is in Manhattan. And I get a lot of referrals from that and from other networking groups. And it's really, the two keys to all of that is really consistency and patience with it, because I may meet somebody at one point and it may not be a good fit, or they could be a good referral source for me, like an insurance broker or a banker. And then they refer me to a business owner that comes to them. So there's two types of referral sources that I end up with: immediate business owners, or the sources that lead me to the business owners. And it just takes time of cultivating that. We use HubSpot internally to track our referral sources, and that's been really key as well, to try to realize where they're all coming from so that we can understand what's working and what's not. But it's really the personality and getting out there and putting my face out, being consistent on social media, all of those things that help bring in the referrals and the networking.
You need to take a step back and really assess what your sales model is going to be. So a couple approaches is scale fast with lower price clients. Okay, which is fine. That's one approach, right? You can scale really fast. Maybe some lower value clients. That's really hard to have a relationship. So what Anne's talking about, the communication, the warmness, I would say a little more authenticity would be very difficult in that model. Mm-hmm. But if you wanted to get leads using that model, maybe you're looking to scale fast to sell fast. Well, then you're going to be using a lot of paid advertising on social media and not worrying about the nurturing as much. I would argue that that's also going to attract a really unique type of client base. I see it. I've seen a couple of them already on, Instagram and LinkedIn, the cheapest accountant for your year-end tax. And oh yeah, it will totally help you scale, but are you going to build the relationship? If you're not interested in the relationship, then that's one model. And that's how you can get leads. Okay. Paid social. right? The other one that we focus on, so we're a boutique firm. So my clients are high value clients and we have fewer clients. So we service more to a lesser group. Okay. And that's another model, right? So in that case, how do I get that particular, I call them a dragon, right? That's my client methodology. Well, that is that relationship building that Anne was talking about. So that's coming through and having the nurturing process with maybe certain CPAs. Like one CPA could refer me 8 amazing clients. Okay, because they know specifically what I can do. And we have that relationship. They know that they can rely on Jennie's firm to get clean data. And if they have a client that comes to them with some redonkulous technology, Jennie can probably figure it out. If not, she's going to at least make a suggestion, right? So how we also do that warmness and getting the leads is through amplifying what we do through client relationships through social media as well. So whether it's a YouTube video, whether it's our website, whatever the case may be, that's what helps amplify who we are before our client comes to us. Okay, so they're getting used to our personality, our approach, our advertising. The way we outreach is not the cheapest bottom dollar bookkeeper that's out there. That is not who we are. We focus on relationships because we care. We care about your data and we advocate for what doesn't have a voice, and that's your debits and credits. Okay, so it really comes down to you first, then amplifying it through, I would say, if you're wanting long-term success, it's about building authentic relationships. "16 years ago, with a little baby screaming at home, I'm in Canada. I didn't think I was going to be where I was going to be. Okay. I thought, I'm just trying to put milk on the table. Let's be honest. Okay. Let's just be honest. So More Details is the name of my company. And for my domain, I went, I didn't value myself, right? I'm like, moredetails.ca. No, get the .com. Now I got a squatter, and make sure when you're thinking of your brand and your marketing that your domain is something that's very sticky, that it resembles to you, and always think about not where you are right now, but where you're going to go. And is that going to take you there? Get the .com.
I think I was very fortunate with some of those things along the journey in getting the website and getting different things like that. But I think I've learned so much as I've come along, and definitely, I think I probably would have outsourced it sooner. I think I held on to it too long and tried to do it all myself. And I think for finding a virtual admin, it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody specific to marketing at the beginning, but get an admin or somebody that can help you with some of the more day-to-day tasks. Even if you do decide to take on some of the marketing things yourself, at least some of the admin tasks are taken care of. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility. But once I found somebody to help me work on that message, it really changed things.
Thank you so much, Anne and Jennie, for participating in this webinar. I definitely took a lot away from this webinar that I might implement into my food blog or my foodie adventures. And I'm sure everyone else in the chat will do the same in terms of marketing for their firm and services. And again, thank you everyone else in the chat box for being so engaged, and for everyone else that is here on this webinar for attending. Thank you everyone again, and hope you have a great rest of the day.